Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Shelves. We're on to episode 7. Can you even believe? And today's episode, you have no idea how excited I am because this is one of my most anticipated reads on my TBR cart at the minute. I know I say that literally every time. This book was very unexpected. This was a very unexpected release this year. We had no idea it was coming, and ever since I found out that it was coming out, I've just been so excited for it, and it was honestly just a must read, and I'm so excited to be dedicating a whole reading vlog. If you don't know anything about Fresh Off the Shelves, this is a mini series that I'm doing on my YouTube channel where I'm basically reading new releases as they come out and dedicating a whole reading vlog to them. And today we have Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. You guys know how much I love the Magnolia Parks universe. I read The Conditions of Will, which was her other new release that came out this year, and loved that book. I've literally loved everything that I've read by her. I love her writing style and just the way that she creates characters and the dynamic between characters, and there's always so much drama, which I'm so here for all the time. And like I said, The Conditions of Will was her new release that came out this year, so we weren't expecting, literally like 2 months later, for this one to be announced, but it was, and it's here, and I'm very, very excited. Genuinely can't wait. I feel like this is gonna have Magnolia Parks vibes. I just feel it. I don't really know that much about it other than I think he is the front man of this big band, and I think she's this iconic model, I want to say. And it's very much giving fame, drama. Here for it. I'm here for it already. And I can't wait. It's actually a lot thinner than I thought it was going to be, you know. I picked this up from Waterstones and it's only like 320 pages, so I need to make this last. I really do. I'm just under 80 pages in. I'm on page 78, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of thrown me off because they've literally said that they love each other and that they've fallen in love when they've only spent like a week together. And I know that it was probably quite an intense week in more ways than one, but I feel like they don't really actually know each other beyond the kind of physical and maybe some of the emotional side, but definitely from what we're getting, more so the physical side of things. And it just doesn't feel true when I'm reading it, and I don't know whether it's kind of meant to be like that. Basically following Joa, who is the front man of this really famous band. They keep calling it like the biggest band in the world, so he's really, really famous. And then we have Isolde, who is one of the most famous models that there is. So we have these two people who are very much famous in their own right, and they meet in this bar and we kind of get to see them interacting, and from then on it's kind of like this whirlwind of a romance that's happened really quickly. It's in the press, it's in the media, because both of these two people are very famous, and I guess it's kind of seeing how people around them are also reacting to their relationship, because they know how quick it's been. They also know what his reputation's like he's like this classic bad boy, kind of trouble, has a lot of bad press surrounding him, and for his brand image he kind of shouldn't have a girlfriend because people watching him and listening to him want to think that he is single and that they have a chance, so it kind of ruins his image in a way. And then for her it also ruins her image because he's this troublesome bad boy with bad press and everything. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic because they're both kind of bad for each other fame wise, and I'm yet to see how they're bad for each other like relationship wise, but I have a feeling that it's going to be kind of a toxic relationship situation. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I like Jessa Hastings' writing. I have started tabbing it as well because I've tabbed every single one of Jessa Hastings' books that I've read. And as for the characters, they are both unlikable and likable in their own way, but I have a feeling that there's going to be so much drama, so much kind of press about them that it's going to cause drama. Yeah, I'm intrigued by it, definitely intrigued. It just kind of threw me off when not even like 80 pages in and they're already like professing their love for each other. Which I guess when you know, but it just felt very insta-lovey to me as a reader, and the way that it was done and everything, I just didn't really buy. But I don't know whether it's kind of like meant to be like that, because it kind of gets across this whirlwind romance that they found themselves in, and like gets across how they're feeling at the minute. I don't know, they're my thoughts so far. I'm nearly 200 pages in, and I don't know how I feel about Joa as a character. I honestly don't. And I know that he's meant to be a troublesome character, and I like that he very much feels like he's on Isol's side, but I don't know, something's just not sitting right with me. I would like to know more about his background, because we have a lot about like Isolde and how she fits into her family and her relationship with her father, and also something that happened in her history. And we kind of get to know her a bit better, and we feel like we know maybe why she is the way she is. Whereas with him, I feel like we haven't really got a lot of background, and I want to know why he's so aggressive and impulsive and so intense with literally all of his reactions. Because at the minute it's just seeming a bit uncalled for a lot of the time, and he just seems to be kicking off at literally anything. And I know that that's the kind of character he is, but I'd like a bit more of his background and like why he is the way that he is. Also, another thing about the way that he speaks, I'm finding some of his chapters quite jarring, just because every single sentence ends with a question. Like, it'll end with, do you get what I mean? And then the next one after that will be like, you know? Or it'll be like, but I love her, don't I? Or she just has that effect on me, doesn't she? And it's again and again and again, and it's kind of getting on my nerves to read, and I don't know why. And I know that that's just probably like the way that he speaks, and I know that it is quite maybe a northern thing, because he is meant to be from Manchester, so I get it. But I find it kind of jarring. I do. Which is saying something, considering I'm literally northern. That's saying something. But I do find that I'm enjoying her chapters more than his at the minute. I don't know that I love him, and I want to. You know, like I said earlier, them two at the minute, I understand that they have something really intense and they have this intense whirlwind connection, but it just feels a bit lacking in substance for me personally. I think that's it. And at the minute, I'm just reading it for the drama. I am having a good time because I'm just reading it for the drama. I don't feel as connected to them as I'd like to, but I don't mind that because, like I said, here for the drama. It's like a guilty pleasure kind of read. Does have very similar elements to BJ Magnolia, but take BJ and Magnolia and mix them with Billy and Daisy from Daisy Jones and the Six, and you literally have Isolde and Joa. I'm on to the last 20 or so pages, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous for the end, just because I feel like she's been hinting at something this whole time, and I'm kind of nervous to read that if that is the case. I obviously don't know if it will be, but I feel like she has been hinting at something, or I just feel like it's going to be a chaotic ending, honestly. Second thing is, I remember that at the start of this, we started with part 1, and literally this entire time there hasn't been a part 2 yet, so I'm also confused about that. Also raises a lot of questions. And the third, I honestly have no idea where this is going to go with them two. I really don't. Like I said, I do have kind of a theory. I don't know how we get there. I don't know what's going on. They're just very chaotic, in all honesty. Joa is a literal man-child. He's a literal man-child, and he's kind of one of the most unlikable characters that I think Just Hastings has probably written. And I'm finding Joa's chapters especially just a bit jarring. I know I said this before, but literally everything is a question with him. And I feel like she's really tried to get across the fact that he's from Manchester and he's northern, and it just feels a bit forced sometimes and a bit over the top. And aside from that, he's a literal man-child. So there's that. But I'm gonna sit and read the last 20 or so pages, and let's see how this chaos ends. He's so annoying, honestly. I didn't know this was part of a series. Part 2 is another book. I'm kind of gutted about that. Let's talk about it. First things first, this honestly felt like Magnolia and BJ 2.0, and I know I really don't want to compare it to her other series because this is meant to be, who would have thought, a series on its own. I say that because I literally went into this thinking it was a standalone. It's not. There is a part 2. When we will be getting it, I have no idea. I hadn't heard anything about it being a series, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish it wasn't. I kind of wish that it was just a standalone. I have mixed feelings about that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It does definitely feel like Magnolia BJ 2.0, and the reason that I'm saying that is because their connection and the drama between them two is very similar, but also their kind of background, like individually. So just in the way that, like, Isolde, for example, she has a bad relationship with her father. She has a little sister that she really gets on with. She does have an older sister as well, which Magnolia doesn't have. But just the dynamic, how she fits into the family is very similar. And I find that there's a lot of similarities between the way that Isolde and Magnolia both think. And Joa and BJ are also very similar, but Joa is like BJ times 100. But the way that he kind of fits into his family is also very similar to BJ. And the reason that I'm saying 2.0 is because they have this intense connection without any of the history, without any of this childhood bonding. Because Magnolia and BJ literally grew up together. They have literally been there by each other's side through thick and thin from very young. And I think that's what makes them so likeable. Even though the individual characters can be so unlikable sometimes, their bond and the fact that they've literally been through thick and thin together and consistently stood at each other's side is what makes them so likeable. And it's also what makes you root for them and believe the fact that they are very much soulmates and destined to be together. And these two, it's almost like we're trying to make this soulmate connection without any of the history and backstory and childhood growing up together. That's what it feels like. Not only that, but Joa as a character has very little redeeming qualities. He does, and I know that he is meant to be like that, but as a reader, I'm kind of like, this is horrendous. Like, you are literally a man-child. You are a man-child, and I kind of hated reading his chapters a lot of the time. And I know I touched on it before about we didn't really have that much of his history or backstory, like why the way he is the way that he is. And we did get a little bit more into his relationship with his father, for example, and like his upbringing, but not that much. It all felt very like surface level. We were kind of just told briefly about it, but we didn't get that much. Now obviously I know that there is a book 2, so hopefully we would see more into that in book 2, but I feel like we didn't really get any explanation per se as to how he's ended up this really explosive, intense character. And I don't know why this man-child was literally picking a fight at anything and everything. Like, everything set him off. To the point where I'm just kind of like, oh, come on, not again. Like, isn't it? It's an ick. I also really don't like how toxic he was towards Isolde. And what I mean by that is, I know I'm still going to compare it to BJ, but I feel like he's quite a good example of somebody that is in a toxic relationship and behaves in a toxic way, but isn't directly against Magnolia. Let me explain. Let me explain. It never feels like a direct attack to her, and it's never in spite of her. So Joa, on the other hand, does things, hooks up with people in spite of Isolde. It's literally, its whole purpose is to get back at her, and it's to spite her. And that's what I don't like. I don't like that behaviour. I just don't like that it's done with the absolute intention to hurt her. I don't like that. I know that I'm talking about it as if I hated this book. I actually didn't. I actually didn't hate it. These are just some things that I've noticed that I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm questioning. But the writing style, I feel like Jessa Hastings' writing style is so good. I really like it. It's something that I just really connect with, hence all the tabs. I will say that there aren't actually as many as I thought that there would be. And I actually kind of anticipated that this would be a higher rated than like The Conditions of Will, which it actually isn't. But I can really appreciate her writing style. It is something that definitely resonates with me reading it. It's just the characters in this one that I feel like kind of let it down, and also the kind of insta-love situation. Like, they were literally confessing the love for each other 70 pages in after only knowing each other for a week, and it became very evident that how are you kind of in love, because they didn't know each other. They just didn't, and that became very evident the more that you read. I think they definitely both have this intense attraction and intense connection. I can understand this infatuation that they have with each other. I think it's that. It's definitely a strong infatuation, and they've kind of become all consumed with each other. But do I think that they're in love? Do I buy the fact that they're in love with each other after not really knowing each other that well? No, I don't. I think they like the idea of each other, and I think they're kind of addicted to each other. That's what it's giving. It's not giving soulmates. It's not giving we're in love, deep connection. You know, there were definitely some really lovely scenes between them, and to the point where I was like, okay, Isolde, I get it. Like the house viewing scene, if you've read it, you'll know the house viewing scene. I really liked how that was done. And for a second, I could see the interest in Joa, I could see it. But I feel like he always just ruins it. I do. I honestly feel like he's the biggest man-child that I've ever read about. And I feel like that's enough said. I really do. I did enjoy this. I was kind of here for the drama. Even though they're very unlikable characters, I'm kind of here for the drama. As for rating, I really don't know. I've been trying to like sit with it and decide what my rating is gonna be. My first instinct was like a 4 stars, just because the writing style, I can appreciate what it's doing, but I'm just not obsessed with these characters. So then I was thinking, well, is it more of a 3.5 stars? That's what I was thinking. I still don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's probably somewhere in between the two. I'm not sure that this is one that I'm necessarily going to think about again, all these characters again. And I'm actually undecided whether I want to read the second book in the series. I'm undecided. Will I most likely probably read it? Yeah, probably. But purely for the fact that I just want to know what happens. And I have a feeling that these two are not going to be endgame. And I think that's going to be a really interesting read. So potentially, we'll see when the time comes around. That's kind of my final review, but I did enjoy it, and I was very much here for the drama and the chaos of it. I mean, it was such a chaotic read, and I think I kind of just had to look past the fact that I wasn't going to be absolutely loving these two characters in the same way that I like love Magnolia and BJ together. You know? Anyway, rant over. I feel like I have so much to say about this book, honestly. But that's all for now. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this episode of Fresh Off the Shelves. Please let me know if you did. If you're still here, if you made it to the end, you're literally amazing. Please leave a little star emoji in the comments so that I know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.